A question came up in the forums. How would you add a player attack animation to the platformer demo? Well, we're going to go ahead and give that a shot right now. First thing we're going to do is go back to Turbo iTorque Game Builder, and we're going to add another button onto the scene. And this button is going to control our attacking. So I'm going to put the image for the button on the scene, and then I'm going to go ahead and edit that image and give it all the properties necessary so that it can respond to the button class functions. This is going to be a button, so I'm going to make it part of the button class. It does need to use mouse events, so I'm going to go ahead and check that as well. And we're going to use the same behavior that we modified for this button as well. We're going to use the platform button behavior. Let's go ahead and add the behavior in. Make sure we select the appropriate click image. And we have options for method up and method down. Now, normally when you attack, as soon as you push the button, you're attacking. Releasing the button generally doesn't do anything. So I'm going to take the method up completely out, because when we release the button, we're really not going to do anything. In method down, we're going to write a new function called player attack. So now we have a button wired up to actually run a command. Now we need to write the command. But before we write the command, we need some more assets. We have animations for the player jumping up, jumping down, standing still, and moving left or right, but we don't have anything specifically for attacking. Let's go ahead and go to the Create tab, and we're going to create a new animation. The animation we're going to create is going to be based off the player image map, so let's select that. And we have to decide what our animation is going to look like. Well, I'm thinking that the standing tile, the standing sprite, and the first part of the running animation would make a pretty good attack sequence. Let's slow that down from 30 to 15, like all of our other animations. And this animation, we don't want to cycle. When you attack, you're going to lift your sword and slam it down, and that's it. So when we play it, we see that we give a little whack, and it's over. So let's go ahead and name this animation Player Attack Animation, and save it. Now that we have the player attack animation, and we have the button wired up to run the player attack command, we need to write the player attack command. The player attack function that we're going to write resembles the existing functions for player jump, player right stop, etc., because all we're going to do is set a variable inside there. So let's start by making a comment first. And we're going to set up the button to perform the attack. And the function will work for the button class, and it's going to be called player attack. Now we have to decide when it's going to be appropriate to attack. Do we want to attack when we're standing, when we're running, when we're jumping? Well, the animation that we selected for attack is going to look kind of funny if we play it in the middle of jumping or falling. So we're going to make sure that we're not airborne. And the way we do that is we look at a Boolean field like true or false. So this says, right now it says if we are airborne, and we're going to use the bang symbol so that it changes it to see if we're not airborne. Okay, and if we're not airborne, then we're going to assign a new variable called attacking, and call that true. Whenever I define a variable dynamically, I also like to include it in the onload event and set it to what its default value will be. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this player attacking, go up to our onLevel loaded for our player class, and we'll say player.attacking is false. Now while we're here, let's go ahead and also say that player.airborne is false. It's not strictly necessary, but it helps keep your code a little bit more organized, and if you consistently do this, you will be able to go to your onLevel loaded or onAddToScene loaded functions and get a good idea of what the available variables are for that particular object. Okay, so we have our player attack function wired up now. So when we push that button, if he's not already airborne, we're going to set the player attacking variable to true. Let's get rid of that typo while we're here. Now that the button's wired up to the function, we need to update our animation loop to account for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at our animation loop, which is set current animation, which happens on the update of the player class. And it's actually the second thing that happens. We update our horizontal movement first, and then we set our animation. Okay. Let's take a look at our set current animation function. We need to add in the attacking sequences. So we already know that we can't attack when we're jumping or falling, so we don't really need to look at the upward and downward movements. Because if we're moving upward or downward, we can't be attacking. So after we've done our checks to see if we're jumping or falling, now we can see if we're attacking. And we will start off by checking to see if the player is attacking. If he is attacking, then we're going to go ahead and perform some of these functions. Now this is going to be a little bit similar to the running animation. First thing we need to do is we need to check to see if we are already in the attacking animation sequence. So we're going to get the animation name from this, and if that is equal to player attack animation, then we can continue on. Once we know that we're already on the player attack animation, we need to see if the animation is finished. And again, we use the getIsAnimationFinished function. If it is finished, that means we're already through our attacking sequence. So we need to reset our player variable for attacking to be false. And then we can return out of the function because there will be nothing else to do. The next time it loops through, attacking will be false, and it won't even try to apply any of the attacking animation sequence. Let's go ahead and add a comment in there. Okay, so if our animation is attack, then we need to see if it's finished. If it is finished, then we return. But what if we get in here and we weren't attacking to begin with? But our attacking variable is set. Here's our other condition. If we're not already playing the animation, we need to start. And then we can return out again. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like in Game Builder now. I'll run it for the iPad. Right works, left works, jump works, falling works. Actually, let's try to fall off of a brick to make sure we're working. Yep, works fine there. Now for the attack. Nothing. Did it change anything else? Oh, look, it's trying to run the attack animation instead of the walking animation. Well, let's take a look at our code right there to see if we missed something. Alright, so let's look at the whole walking and attacking sequence. This is the up and down movement, and there we go attacking. So if we're attacking, we're going to do all this stuff. And at the end of that, let's see what happens. Well, now it's checking to see if x velocity equals 0. In other words, we're not moving left and right. And then it'll play the player stand animation, which it looks like it's doing that. And if it's not standing, well, standing's fine, so it's not the standing piece that we're having problems with, it's the run. And I think the problem might be that even though we have these return statements in here, I think it gets us back out of into the beginning of the block. So this may get us out of this particular if statement, but not the larger one that's surrounding it, nor the one that's surrounding that. So we start off having this if player attacking equals true, and then once we're finished with that, we start checking for standing and running discretely. Now, I'm thinking that we need to check them all in line. In other words, once we check to see if we're attacking, if we're not attacking, then we need to check to see if we're standing or running. So if we're not attacking, we're going to go down to a separate condition to see if we're just standing. And if we're not just standing, then we'll hit this else statement, which controls the running animation. Let's give this one more go. Let's make sure our camera width and height are at the appropriate levels first. Okay, jump, fall, running left, running right, attacking button. Yes, every time we push the button, it runs the sequence, and we're cool. So let's see what happens when we're actually stuck running. I'm doing that by clicking on the left button, then dragging off of it, and then releasing. Since we don't actually lift up the mouse on the mouse button picture, it never gets the on touch up event. That's going to be a topic for another time. There we go, ninja attack. Now that we have a running, jumping, attacking, left and right, physics using collision accepting ninja, now we can make this a little bit more fun. And for me, making this more fun is going to be editing the tile layer and adding a couple of boxes to jump around on. So I'm going to choose my paint tool, the mini tile image map, and yeah, that's kind of like a crate or a box or something. I'll turn collision on, and we'll put one here, And there's not a whole lot of room, and since we have the resolution set so high, but I'll put one up here too. And our screen went all funky on us again. Okay, we're done editing that tile layer. We got a few boxes on there. Let's put our resolution back to normal again and give it a run. It's like I'm running into him or something. It's not letting me jump on him. It's like I'm running into an invisible one or something. Let's try that again. Change our resolution back to proper size. Now let's try to walk under it. Nope, can't even walk under it. Once I'm done colliding, I'm stuck. Well, let's take a look at the player object itself. Let's zoom in on him a little bit. And let's look at what his collision properties look like. Well, right now, his collision property is a blue square all the way around him. Now, I don't think the collision needs to be registered unless it's actually touching the Ninja itself. So let's go ahead and position these things all around his body. Let's put one more over there as well. Let's see, his foot comes out to maybe here, other foot comes out to maybe there, and his head's never any taller than that. Let's give that a go. One more time, we'll make sure that our project is at the proper resolution. By clicking on nothing. I have the tile layer selected there for a second. And let's give it a go. Cool, now I'm not colliding when I'm walking underneath this bad guy. And I think the reason was that the collision box was so far around the player that it was inadvertently hanging up on some of the other objects. Cool, I can jump on that one, I can jump on that one, and I can fall off and still attack. Alright, I think that wraps it up for this episode of the tutorial. Next time I think I'm going to go into using torsion on a PC, as well as using Text Wrangler with a language file to show you some different options when you're editing TorqueScript. Xcode isn't the prettiest IDE for working in script. It doesn't color any of your syntax, known as syntax highlighting. It doesn't do any kind of autocomplete, where you start typing in the name of command and it'll try to sense what the possible commands you could use are. So we'll look at torsion as well as Text Wrangler next time.